Well, I was able to make it to the track with the truck, and it went as expected, horribly, in the beginning. So the night before, the last video I uploaded, I did some troubleshooting on trying to rewire this thing so I bypassed the ignition's fuse circuit because I was blowing that fuse. So I did that, but I kind of forgot about some things that were connected that were also working in the truck. So started out the day kind of rough, had to work through some things, but it did get better towards the end. All right, so made it to Union Grove. We're at Great Lakes Dragway today. It's very, very windy outside, so all of the outside footage is probably going to be junk. My fuse issue popped back up again. So I was actually in the tech line, drove it there, everything was fine, and then shut it off, did the tech, went to fire it back up, and the fuse was blown again. So I had a spare fuse, put the fuse in it, started it up, drove away fine, and then as I was pulling back into the pit, it blew the fuse again. Engine stayed running, which is what I wanted, but I saw the dash lights shut off. So for now, I unplugged a bunch of extra relays that are still in the fuse box, and I unplugged my door wiring connections, just unplugged a bunch of stuff. And I actually have a smaller fuse in it right now. It's normally a 50 amp. I have a 40 amp fuse in it now. And we're gonna go with that. And I didn't really bring any tools today, like my meter or anything like that. So not much I think I'll try to do for troubleshooting. If anything, I'll just go get some more fuses and try to see what I can find. But for now, it's working with all that other stuff unplugged. The only thing I need that circuit for is the starter circuit. So worst case, I could just run a wire to the starter on a button. That's all I need the key switch for. So it's causing me a lot of problems right now for no reason. Let's get going. My son's here with me today, my 14-year-old. So he's gonna be the camera guy. And there's some drifting going on, which you can probably hear. And there's like 85-mile-an-hour wind, but it's a crosswind. So at least it's not coming at me today. We'll see what we end up with. Well, I'm gonna run to the store to get some fuses. It did blow the fuse as I was driving up to the lane, which everything stays running. But I realize now that I don't have my trans brake or reverse or line lock or any of that stuff. So that's all on a switch 12-volt source. So I wouldn't be able to like truly make a pass anyways. So I need to figure out what's going on with this. I thought it would be simple as like I could get it started and then make a pass, but that's not gonna work, or I have to rewire a bunch of stuff. I need to figure out what's going on. Okay, so we just stopped at O'Reilly and picked up a push button and a little bit of wiring. I think what I'm going to do is just bypass that whole circuit. So I'm going to run a wire to the starter, and that way I can just use the starter off that circuit. And then for my trans brake relay, I'm going to take the ignition source and put that to the switch source that I added last night. So that should have everything that I need on that switch, and then I'll have a separate push button for the starter. I thought about trying to spend more time trying to figure out what's going on with it, but I think it'll probably be better to use the time just to change it than try to figure out what's going on. If I do find anything and it's behind the dash, I'm not going to be able to get to it to fix it anyways. So this will be a better solution for time, I think, and it'll probably be safer for now to just bypass that whole circuit. So I didn't have to rewire the trans brake or anything. All I had to do was run the wire to the starter. So when I was troubleshooting, I pulled a fuse out to move it, which I think goes to the inner fuse panel or something in here. So I had that one pulled out and moved, and that one is actually what's giving the trans brake power. So I just put the fuse back in the correct spot, not the ignition fuse, not the one that I've been having problems with. So that one's back in the right spot. Trans brake works. I did rewire the starter to O'Reilly's button, and that all works now. So gonna try to make a pass at 3 o'clock in the afternoon finally. realizing now that my transmission's not going to have power. It's not going to shift. So I have to do something with that. So after that, you'll see the theme of the video is kind of been having traction issues, which historically I have had traction issues with this truck. In this pass, it kind of lags in the beginning, and then you see me reach for the dial-a-boost knob, and then it seems like as soon as I touch the knob, it just starts to scream, and then it goes. So I reviewed the data log on this pass, and it actually stayed at 5 pounds of boost until about 83 miles per hour, about when I reached for the dial, and I just touched the dial, and then it shot up to 28 pounds of boost. So that's what happened in this pass. Thing is cooking. It didn't hook, but it was fast. 10.7 at 147. 1.860 foot. Alright, so I looked at the log and it looked exactly like it felt. It stayed at 5 pounds of boost until I hit 83 miles per hour, and then all of a sudden the duty cycle came in. And then it came up to 28. So, and that's probably how it looked in the video too, that it was kind of lazy, and then all of a sudden, wow, it just took off. So that explains a lot. I don't know why that happened though. So it was, the dial position was on, the commanded duty cycle was on the table it looked like it was right, but I don't know why it was actually only commanding enough to make 5 pounds of boost. So I tried to make one adjustment to it. We'll see how that goes. So during this pass, we developed hula hoop boost again, which is a term that was developed by Matt Happel from Sloppy Mechanics, where essentially my boost is oscillating around like crazy. That originally came up when I was building a boost control table that would also pull duty cycle if it went too high. So while I was dialing that in, it would hula hoop or oscillate. But I ended up finding that that was caused by a boost leak. On the top of the intake, there's a port that I had covered, and then that blew off. So I'll have to find something to secure that a little bit better because I've had that issue in the past, but that's what caused the hula hoop boost. So it's actually getting kind of chilly out. It's starting to get dark. I'm going to try a little lower two-step RPM. I found a boost leak. There was a vacuum cap that had popped off, caused a big boost leak. So that's, I think, what the oscillating was, which should make sense. Try a little lower RPM. They just prepped the track, so now will be a good time. Next, we dealt with a little bit more spinning. Decided to try lowering the RPM, went down to like 3,500 RPM, started to see a little bit of progress. Started with the suspension full tight on front and rear, and then left the rear full tight, and then went to half tight on the front, and then all the way loose on the front, just to kind of see the changes. So then the combination of lowering the RPM and then loosening up the front seemed like it started to work. 2,500 RPM launch. But it actually seemed like it stuck and it went a little bit and then it broke. So is that too loose in the front and it topped out? I would guess that was over 150 though. I felt like I was cooking on the back half. 10.0 at 150. That's my guess. .989 at 151. 151, dude. With a 1.7 60 foot. 1.7. Yeah, 151, man. It felt like it wanted to go that time.
988 at 151.
But it was still a 1.7 60 foot, so the 60 foot didn't really get much better.
Yeah, it was like, it looked like it caught and then it let go and then it caught and took off.
Yeah, that's what it did. So it left and then it went a little bit and then it broke. So I wonder if I got to tighten up the front suspension a little more.
So
can I do one more with the suspension tighter?
yeah, do a longer burnout.
Do a longer burnout?
Like you did this time, but maybe longer.
So that's what I did. I tried to do what you said and wait 2 seconds longer on the burnout.
It
So I
looked
did.
like a, wait, you want to watch it?
Sure. Did that. Truck looks cool when it's dark out and you can't see all the dust on it.
Yeah, he was talking about the dust.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's saying it'd go faster if there's no dust.
Yeah, I topped out really fast, so I'm gonna tighten up the front.
Yeah, you caught and then you like let go right away. And then it started going.
Alright, maybe we have a direction now. So it worked for one pass where it kind of rolled out and then spun. And then the next pass, I ended up going to half tight on the front shock. And then it completely just spun like crazy again. It didn't even try to move at all. So kind of out of frustration, I decided to go to 3,000 RPM on the leave, and it was basically only making like 1 pound of boost. So it was almost like foot braking it. But on this pass, as I roll into it, and I'll explain that, as I roll into it, I didn't use the bump anymore. I just rolled in, double bulb, then hit the trans brake, then hit the throttle. Double bulbed and foot braked it with the trans brake on. That was a lot lower RPM. I wonder if I did that at my higher RPM, if it would actually stick. Maybe I should try that once and then be done. Oh, I keep saying one more time, but wow, still a 1.7 60 foot, 940 at 150. 1.7 60 foot still. So that's like 3,000 RPM with leaving on like 1 pound of boost. So it's basically foot braking it. So that seemed like it stuck and it went very well. So now my brain started thinking, well, maybe I'll try that. I'll go back to 3,800 RPM, which was my normal leave RPM. Then I'm just gonna go in and double bulb because I wasn't going against anybody, just testing. I don't really care about reaction times anyways. So I just decided I was gonna do what I did on my best passes that I've had on the truck, is just go in, double bulb, like use the foot brake to get into the second bulb, then hit the button, then hit the throttle, and that ended up working. mad at it again, but it actually stuck. So what I did that time was I kind of foot braked into the second bulb and like kept the suspension loaded, or the driveline loaded, and then hit the trans brake button to lock it when it was loaded. And then I like foot braked it while I was holding the trans brake, and then released it at the same time, and it actually stuck and went. So I'm wondering if it is actually something with that when I'm trying to use the trans brake and bump in, because I'm not using the foot brake at all when I'm bumping it in, creeping it in, so it just kind of like comes in and it kind of can float a little bit. So I'm wondering if it's like not fully loaded forward and it rocks back, and then you hit it and it just smashes the tire too hard. I did have a boost leak on the last pass. That cap popped off again. So that was 28 pounds that time, and it was a better launch. So I don't know, that had to be like maybe a 920 or something. Either way, I think we're going to call it. That'll be the last one for the day. It's getting kind of late, so after 7 o'clock now. But overall, I think it was a pretty good day with a bad start, a good end. 192 coolant temp, 14 psi coolant pressure. Made like 7 passes or something. 9-1. Oh, damn it. 9-1 at 154, dude. 154. One at 154, man.
Why do you keep like slowing down?
I mean,
Like whenever you after the start you slow down a lot and then speed up.
because the wheels are hopping. I felt the wheels hopping, hop, hop, hop. It was like, tick, 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 so I lifted quick and got out of it because I don't want to break it. I don't want. You could like break the axle if you do that.
What if?
Man, now I'm so tempted, man. 154. That might be the best mile an hour so far.
Yeah, that was probably. You were going very fast. I thought that was gonna be it.
That was a 1,460 foot.
Is it good?
That's not the best 60 foot, but I think it's the best mile an hour. So I did go back and review the old video of when the truck went 886. It went 886 at 145, but in that video it also did a 154, and it was like 154.8, something like that, and this yesterday was a 154.4. So it wasn't the best mile an hour, but it was pretty close to matching the best mile an hour. But overall I feel like it was a decent day. My last 2 outings with the truck, which was about a year ago now, I had that fuse issue and it wasn't really a successful day. I kind of ended the day on both times I was out because of that issue. I was able to at least make some passes now, so that felt good. I want to do some new things with the suspension now. I feel like it's something I can probably get to work. I actually had a long discussion with Jack Roberts from Squirrel Tune last night, and he's like a wizard with some of this stuff, so he gave me some ideas and stuff to go after with the suspension. Part of me was debating on going to a 315 tire, but I don't know if I want to do that necessarily. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity with the suspension, even in the rear and in the front. More travel, being able to control the separation a little bit better. The rear end does separate, but I'm wondering almost if it's separating too fast. So maybe I got to do some bar changes. I don't know. I'm just learning about all of this stuff. It's fascinating to me, but I do need time to test it. Haven't been getting a whole lot of time lately because of life, and a lot of my free time has been going to this car when I do have it. So last winter I didn't work on the truck because I was planning on doing wiring, like rewiring the whole truck anyways. That's why I didn't go after that wiring issue last year, but then never really had time to do it. So now I think this really just solidifies the fact that I need to go after the wiring and redo all the wiring, and then maybe some other stuff with the truck. So, but this truck I plan to keep this one, stick around for a while, so I'm not really in a big rush to kind of hammer out a bunch of stuff and get it done. There's things I want to do to the truck, like replacing the front fenders. I have the fenders for it, like redoing the rear end, like the the roll pan and stuff like that because there's a lot of rust on this truck too. Back in the day I had Lambo doors on this truck, so I ended up cutting out the fender here. So the fenders are all janky. The doors are really messed up from having the old Lambo door hinges welded on there. So a lot of the stuff will be kind of a longer term project. I'd really like to focus on the Volvo and get that thing out. So maybe I can manage the time and do some work on both to be ready for next year. But also have to do wiring on this one. I got to do like intercooler piping, wiring, and then this one's actually pretty close. So perfect time to be close to getting it done is like right in the middle of going into winter. So anyways, I'm gonna shut up.